So a little bit of background about myself. I'm a software engineering manager at Amazon Web Services. It's the cloud compute organization within Amazon. In my spare time, I spend a lot of passion, project time working on Assyrian technology. The biggest app that I work on right now is called Seven Says. It's an online English to Assyrian dictionary. Many of the folks in this room right now have helped out and contributed to the site. So thank you. This site was inspired in the summer of 2016, just after ISIS had invaded, and they destroyed a lot of the Assyrian artifacts. This was a way to preserve and digitize our language, and there were multiple dictionaries available at the time. It's just I wasn't satisfied with the search relevancy. So when you search for something, your intent needs to match with the ranking of the results. So that's the reason Seven Says exists. I'm pretty proud of the search intent. So when you search for a word like book, you expect Taba to be the #1 search result. You get the Assyrian phonetic, the audio, and related words. It's very mobile friendly as well. And then in the past, something that my brother and I have done is we've created edutainment apps. These are kids' games where they're playing on the mobile device an Assyrian game, but really the subcontext is that they're learning the language and learning about our music, the letters. These apps, unfortunately, have been deprecated by the app stores. At some point, we may think about reinvigorating them. But they were quite popular at the time as well. So that's a little bit about myself. Now, in terms of, if you're going to leave the room, I'd say leave the room after this slide. My philosophy is just like do what you love with those that you love. So that's the only way this is going to work. So for me, fitness is about finding hobbies or activities that I really enjoy. Right? I gotta really enjoy it, and I gotta be surrounded with people that push me, make fun of me when I'm down, because that's kind of what riles me up, and really kind of get me to the next level. And it's really a value add of Assyrian advisors, is to be able to find a mentor, find a community of people who will bring you up. And so on the left here, I do quite a few Spartan races. It affords me the ability to travel, to compete at a national level for military-style boot camps, and that has progressed, like most hobbies do, into a more extreme version. So what you see on the right is called tactical games. What we do there is we have heavy implements, and we have firearms on us. So we have a plate carrier, we have a rifle on our back, and a pistol on our holster, and we go through getting our heart rate really high, then we get on target and shoot. So you're trying to manage how is your precision while your heart rate's really high. And I think that applies to, so it's a lot of like military style competition. I've met a lot of law enforcement that way, and when I compete in these competitions, I usually have a fake Assyrian tattoo and or a patch. You see this Assyrian patch here, or an Assyrian headband. I do that for 3 reasons. I want my competition to know who's ahead of them, and I want it's motivation for me as well. It's motivation for me as well to know when I'm really tired, because we all get tired. Just what I need to draw on a deeper source, right? So that it helps me look down my patch. Okay, I'm wearing this flag for a reason. Let me try to represent it, right? So that means a lot to me. And third, it's a conversation starter. A lot of folks come up to me when I'm wearing the headband and they say, "Oh, you like Karate Kid?" They think it's a Karate Kid headband, and then we get into the conversation about Assyrian. So I've been pretty involved in tactical games ever since moving to Texas. I qualified at the national level for an event in November. These are some of the pictures that show us kind of doing extreme things, and then while our heart rate's up, we try to get back on target with the firearms. Key players in my life are my fit fam. So what really helps me is being surrounded by individuals who are also into fitness. So the picture on the left is when we visit our parents in Sacramento. A lot of our activities are around hiking. They'll hike, I'll run. For my birthday each year, I hold what's called Spartagon. Spartagon is a combination of Spartan obstacle course races and my name is Sargon. So I kind of coined the term Spartagon. We had an event where I set up a booth. There's wristbands that people have to wear, and they sign a liability waiver, and I put them through a kind of a boot camp. And they team up, and we have a little competition. I have a lot of fun with that. So getting into the main part of the talk, I'd like to explore human nature. So 3 things that really drive your everyday actions. If you were to look at the actions that you perform on a daily basis, or even long term, they're usually driven by one of 3 things. So I need to survive, right? I need to eat, procreate, reproduce, be resilient to diseases, right? To survive. The other is to belong, right? Why are you here, right? You're here because you're a Syrian or you're involved in the community and you want to have that sense of belonging to a community. We have a shared identity that's rich in both suffrage and tradition, but that it unites us as humans. So that's why we attend events like this, and that's a driving force for a lot of our everyday actions. Third is the need to feel loved, right? So for me, I like one of the things that makes me feel some sense of validation is having an accolade or an award or an accomplishment. A lot of folks come to a Syrian convention to find their soulmate and whatnot. I actually know someone who was fortunate enough to find 2 of his wives at several conventions. So what I'm trying to show here by talking about our 3 different behavioral-driven patterns is how do you use that to work for you rather than against you? Not necessarily about fitness, about anything you want to achieve in life. You need to understand your behavioral patterns and what drives your everyday actions. And so survival can actually work against us. So if we have a need to survive, what that tells us as humans, we try to strive for the path of least resistance. We want to expend as few calories as possible and to hold on to as many calories as possible because we don't know if tomorrow's going to be a dry day, right? So that'll work against us in terms of trying to get fit because it's the antithesis of that. And we also spend a lot of time making decisions in life, and that exerts a lot of energy. What movie am I going to watch today? What am I going to eat? What am I going to do today? That's a lot of energy. So one of my hacks in knowing that about myself, I try to remove any barriers from exercising. So I don't drive 20 minutes to go to the gym. I have a gym in my apartment complex, or I have a gym that's 5 minutes away. It's a quick transition cost. I have clothes in the back of my car in case I'm going to get a workout in, right? So that reduces the friction in trying to at least get some movement involved in my life. So that works against the path of least resistance. The other thing I do is I try to set deadlines in place so that I don't have to make a decision. I don't make a decision about, hey, am I gonna work out today? I'm not feeling that great. It's not a decision for me. I have events lined up, so I have an event in September in San Antonio, tackle games, I have the national championships in November. So I know, hey, I have these events lined up, so I will automatically go and get that workout in or get that training in. So it can be as simple as signing up for an Syrian convention. Hey, maybe you'll go to the pool. Maybe you want to look, feel and look good. So having events like that where there's a vacation, there's a 10K, a 5K, things like that really help eliminate the decision-making energy from hey, should I exercise today? It becomes automatic if you have a forcing function. So a lot of things that I do in my life, I try to create a forcing function or a mechanism to automate the decision-making process. That way the decisions I make in my life are like very few, but they're very high value. I want to focus on those things and not on a lot of noise. So one of the things that I like to do is, in the case that we can't, if we want to know how are we doing, hey, how's my progress, but I don't have a way to measure it, our ego, because we have the survival mindset, our ego can survive a lot of tragedy. We've all endured hardship, so your ego won't let you feel too bad about yourself. Well then how will you know you're on track or not without results? So one way to know if you're on track is if you're full of excuses. So if you find yourself saying, oh, it was too cold today, or it was rainy, or there was too much traffic, if you start hearing that pattern of internal thought, it's a good indicator that, hey, maybe some things need to change. So that's a barometer or a measuring stick for me to let me know, hey, am I on track or not? It's when I start hearing excuses in my own mind. All right. In terms of what motivates me, and back to those 3 human behavioral forces, one is my Syrianism and my faith, and so that sends back to the need to belong, right? And also the need to survive. My name is Sargon, that means a lot to me, so I draw source upon my name because it tells me, hey, this comes from a rich and storied tradition, and a lot of us in this room have very unique, strong Assyrian names. I would encourage you to draw on that for strength when you do face a hardship or turmoil. It's like, know that, hey, you are standing on the shoulders of ancestors who have gone through much, and much is expected of you. Also the social circle and family, so they make it easy for me. I have friends who call me, hey, let's do a workout tomorrow. Brunel, as part of the Syrian Advisors, he encouraged me to sign up for the Syrian Advisors from the software side of things. He's invited me to do some workouts. So surrounding myself with the people who have the right energy, that makes it easy for me, where I don't have to make a decision about whether or not I should stay put or not. And then I shed negative energy. So some people maybe they need to respect that arm's length because they're
Yeah, I have one.
Okay. Thanks.
I think we can continue for the sake of time. I do like to experience new things and travel, and so these Spartan races or games give me that affordance. I was going to wear a shirt that said Tactical Games today. I got it in Kansas when I competed there 3 weeks ago. I thought it'd be more fitting to wear it in a Syrian shirt. But so I do enjoy travel, and I mix my fitness in with my travel. So again, it makes it easy for me. Some of the images that I think about when that just motivate me, I think about like Assyrians on chariots and horseback, and these images of Queen Shamiran or King Sargon doing their thing. And this is me role playing on the bottom here, trying to find some of that strength. All right, I'm going to talk about risk factors within our culture that some of the doctors that talked about earlier regarding heart disease and use those as a stick in terms of the motivational factors. Before I do that, I want to talk about failure. So failure is inevitable in whatever we do in life, and especially in fitness. You're going to fail, right? So what I try to do when I fail is to just try to not take it too seriously. It's not that serious. Try to take, if you're going to embark on a fitness, you got to make it fun. And failure is part of the growth. So I'd like to share a quick video where I'm trying to have fun. Doing what the young people do and filming my own reel, and then I'm going to lift a 250-pound sandbag, right? So that's my goal, to shoulder a 250-pound sandbag. And I failed miserably, right? But I didn't die, right? I didn't die. I'm here today. That happened 2 weeks ago. It's like failure is part of the process, and that's how we grow, right? So I'd say, for me, I know I'm going to fail. It's okay. I'm going to screw up every now and then. Don't be too hard on yourself. Just have fun with it. Like, that's really important, is to have fun with it. The next thing is I'm going to talk about a case study with my father, and I'm going to say how, it's really important to understand what your goals are. If your goals are to lose weight, that's quite different than if your goal is to get into cardiovascular health. Like, my dad had just overcome quintuple bypass heart surgery, but he also hurt his knee, so he was kind of bummed out about that, and all of a sudden he has this granddaughter who he wants to live for. She hops on his back when he's in the pool. It's like very cute, and so he needs to stay healthy for her, right? So his goals, not necessarily to lose weight, but just be in good cardiovascular health. And so your workouts and your fitness regimen will be based off of your goals. If I want to lose weight, I might have to work at a lower heart rate, but for a longer duration than if I want to focus on my cardiovascular health, where I might want to do high intensity intervals. But the talk today is not about the how, it's more about the why we do things and how we draw upon strength for that. So my dad wasn't working out, he was kind of bummed and down, but we knew he liked bikes, right? So we said, find something you like. So we got him a bike. The thing is, he wasn't riding that bike. So he would only ride the bike when one of my brothers would go biking with him. I don't like the bike at all, it's just not my thing. And so I would go running with him. He would bike when we'd visit home. The thing is, he's a lot faster on the bike than I am running, and so we kind of had this mismatch. But it still worked out, and it was great while it lasted, but it didn't scale, because as soon as we went back to where our homes were, my dad regressed back into the situation. So we needed to create a self-sufficient cycle there. So what we did is we decided, let's try to get him a smartwatch. Right? He didn't want the smartwatch, he didn't know how to use it. We tried to get him a really simple one. And then I said, Dad, do you want me to hook it up to Strava? It's a social network where your biometrics and activities automatically get uploaded and different people can see it. He said, no, I don't want that. So I connected it anyways. And and then a few weeks later, I said, Dad, do you realize you're king of the hill? He goes, what does that mean? I said, in the last 30 days, you did this bike ride more than anyone in the community. can they see my picture? I said, don't worry, I made it all private. It's all private. He goes, I want them to see my picture. So he's kind of he likes the spotlight, right? So we found a way, and now all he does is he sends us pictures of his watch after he does these bike rides, and he emails me and calls me and says, how do I thank the people who gave me kudos or likes on Strava? So the key with him was like finding something that he liked, understanding his his psychology. He's the youngest child in a family of 10. He likes being the center of attention. So this was a way just to piggyback off of that and use his nature to work for him rather than against him. So I want to share that story. The next thing I'll get into is mind hacks, and then I think I'll switch it over to you, Doug. So we'll talk about the Spartagon mindset, and really it's get to know yourself, like what excites you. So similar with my father, we found out, okay, what really excites him, and then try to piggyback off that. You get what you pay for sometimes. So what does that mean? It means if there's an expensive boot camp class or a cycling class that you're kind of on the fence about, it's $30-35 just for an hour, I say do it. Right? It's an investment in yourself. You're going to meet the right people. Yes, it's expensive, but you're going to pay the expense one way or the other, either now or down the road. So you might as well enjoy it. If it means getting those Lululemon pants that are really pricey, they're good quality, and you're going to feel good, you're going to feel that you look good, it's going to make you work out harder and whatnot. So I'd say do that, right? So you get what you pay for when it comes to this. Who you surround yourself with is who you become. I think that's pretty self-evident. Like surround yourself with the right people. Assyrian Advisors is a great forum for that, and I want to thank them. I want to thank Assyrian Advisors now that the Assyrian Advisor walked into the room for giving us the opportunity to associate with people who are trying to elevate each other up. Don't make the decision to exercise. You don't think about breathing. So like I said, create a forcing function where you don't have to make the decision, do I exercise or not today? It becomes automatic. Either you have a social event, a deadline, or something where it's on your calendar. You're Assyrian, so draw on that. I think I already talked about that. Habits, sometimes all it takes is getting through it a couple times, like getting through the pain a few times for it to become automatic. Once it becomes automatic, it's easy. You don't think about it. It's not a struggle. It's like breathing. And so that's been integral to me. How you do one thing is how you do everything. So a lot of, I'd say my approach to fitness is the similar approach to how I approach to other things in my life. My spirituality, my family life, personal life. And so it's important for me to feel a state of integrity in knowing that I'm doing the right thing and in knowing that I'm true to my word. I think being true to your body that God gave you and making sure it's healthy, to me, is part of having integrity. Lastly, like my dad, do it for the gram. If that's what it's going to take to excite you and to get that validation from others, then do it. Do what it takes to be part of that. Finally, this is my last slide. Words are really powerful. The questions that we ask ourselves influence our mindset. And so some examples are, if I have to say, gosh, I gotta go for that run today. Well, a beautiful way to pivot that is if I say, I'm gonna go chase the sunrise today. I'm gonna chase the sunset. It's a small, corny thing, but it's just a pivot in the mindset. It's a very beautiful thing, and it works. It works to just get you past that first step. Another example is saying, I have to work out. Okay? That's a very negative way to view it. Another way to view it is to say, thank you to my Creator for giving me a healthy body, for giving me the opportunity to be able to do this. Right? And I know it's corny, but I say try it, and you'll be surprised at the results. You have a sense of gratitude and appreciation towards having a healthy enough body to be able to go and highly exercise, go with friends and whatnot. I know myself, I know my own personality. I'm not good at refraining from something. If someone says, don't do this, that's the worst thing in the world for me. They'll say, don't build another Assyrian dictionary, I'm gonna go build 7 sets. So that's not that doesn't work for me to refrain myself. What works for me is this: if there's an action, it's an action-oriented thing. So rather than saying, don't eat ice cream at night, I tell myself, okay, try to eat more Greek yogurt, or try to drink more water. So I reframe it into an action. because I know that's my nature. I think with that said, I'm gonna go to the doc for the more prescriptive stuff, and then we'll open it up to questions after the end.